Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fascinating experience on your favorite program, Facts and Opinion, put together by the one and only News Chronicle. My name is Muwaffaq Adadu, and I'm here with my brother as always.
My name is Pius, Kadon, and it's always a delight to have you watch us and then share your opinion on some of the topics we talk about on this show.
Yes, we would like to hear your own opinions and your facts, because obviously a whole lot of people these days have a lot of facts, and we would love to also hear your opinions as we go. So don't forget to also like and subscribe as we go. Stay tuned.
So first off, we're going to start with something that has been buzzing the internet and everybody seems to be talking about it, including you, our viewer. And I'm talking about the group of coalition, opposition. They are meeting in Oyo, bringing themselves together and ensuring that they present a single presidential candidate. I don't know how possible that is, because when you have different interests, you begin to imagine how they're going to align and then bring out a candidate that all the opposition parties are going to support.
Well, they call it the opposition summit, right? And lately we have now been hearing news coming from the Nafi Bala-led faction saying that they are distancing themselves from the coalition, or should we call it a coalition or just
like
a summit?
Meeting, yeah.
Yes, they are distancing themselves from the summit, and also we are getting to know that Shore was not part of this summit, and also Abga were not part of the summit. So, which means that we cannot say all the opposition parties were at the meeting, but in general, most of the opposition members were at the meeting. We saw also the likes of Peter will be present at the meeting also, which gave the meeting a whole lot of credence. What do you think?
A lot of people have been bringing forth a lot of prepositions as to whether Obi Kwankwaso ticket is going to be the most marketable, or even Atiku is going to be the most marketable. And there is always that concern as to, if either of them fly the ticket, are we going to see camp of different political people within this APC still support a particular presidential candidate? Say, for example, in the case where Atiku flies the ticket, are we going to see Obi camp, throwing their support? In the case where Obi flies the presidential ticket, are we going to see the camp of Atiku, throwing their support? So already we have this divide, But if we are going to still have other political parties or other factions of political parties come join them, then I don't know how they intend to manage the disparity, the difference, and everything. Yes.
Well, actually, on a more funny note, we saw songs trending today. Coming from the Peter Obi camp, and also I don't want to call it a retaliatory song coming from the Atiku camp also, telling the other, you step down for me, or you step down for me. Well, we won't know what's going to happen. I believe we still have more time. We still have time to the elections, and time is also running out for them to pick a candidate. I believe we also have the likes of Mohammed Hayatuddin, yes, under the ADC umbrella. So a whole lot of big wigs in the ADC, all coming out campaigning for the same position. We also have people like Amechi coming out to say, I'm not stepping down for anybody because I'm here to win. A
lot of things are going to happen, especially after the primaries, which is coming up in a couple of days or even weeks. We're going to see how things are going to take shape. Remember, during an interview earlier, the former national vice chairman of the APC Northwest, Lukman, stated that they are going to find a way to, make sure that these interests are not really a problem when it comes to picking or even getting a presidential candidate. He stated that in the case where Obi becomes the preferred choice, Atiku is going to rally around. In the case where Atiku becomes the preferred choice, in the case where Amechi becomes the preferred choice, all of the those gladiating to become presidential candidates would rally around. So I don't know how they intend to do that, but that sounds like a very brilliant idea if they are able to, put their heads together and put their house in order. Because trust me, this is one thing that APC may be facing, maybe after the primaries or even before the primaries. We've started seeing some of these clash of interests in so many states already. So I don't know how they intend to, stem this impending implosion that is coming, especially after the primaries. We'll see how things pans out after the primaries. And then, trust me, we are going to give you hot.
Of course, as usual, we are always here for you. Now we are going to move to the international scene. On the international scene, we are going to be looking at the gunshot that was had at the correspondence dinner in the United States.
It's quite unfortunate that newsmen would have their own dinner and then the news would break out. I don't know. They actually went there to meet with the president. Maybe ask him a few questions, get to familiarize themselves with the Trump-led administration in the United States. And something quite unfortunate broke out. And I can remember that this is not really the first time
actually
we're having an assassination attempt
on Trump.
Yes. I think even when he was campaigning, we had such incident where he narrowly escaped assassination, and then we're still having the same incident. Even though he stated that he really didn't falter at the whole thing, he didn't panic because according to him, that is life. Lots of things, crazy things happen. But trust me, there are so many things that may have been propelling some of these.
Now, if you are going to look at the reasons why we see some of these things, whether we like it or not, Americans are frustrated, right? It's not only us in Nigeria that face some of these frustrations. The United States is also facing its own kind of frustration. Veterans are not happy, precisely. Not all veterans, though. Well, a lot of the veterans are not happy. The Israel-Iran US war happening in the Middle East. A whole lot of reasons.
And then we have a lot of Iran apologies in the United States.
Of course we do. Not just the Iranian apologies, we have the Palestinian apologies.
Exactly.
So we have quite a lot of apologies, for some groups that tend to be a bit extreme. Now, the US in itself, obviously, it's having its own form of crisis. It's going through its own form of crisis. But an attack on the president is a bit extreme. That level of attack on the president is a bit extreme, which obviously is called for the life. Trying to go after the life of the president, and especially in a public gathering like that. It came to report that the perpetrator was actually in the hotel for days. Obviously waiting for the perfect moment.
It tells you how coordinated some of these attacks can be, or some of these plans to assassinate top presidents can be.
Yes.
Because it's not something you plan in a day.
Of course.
And then I think I would also salute the courage or even the resilience and the proficiency of the United States security architecture, even the United States state security. They really did a good job. So the next and final topic we're going to look at today is something very ridiculous, and it's out there for you to read. It has been trending over the weekend. The Kano State government, is it Kano State government?
Kano State government.
Dishing out undies to women as campaign. What do you call it now?
Well,
I don't know who came up with that idea.
Reports have it that it's fake. The images on the undies are doctored. So it was actually done by the whole campaign. What they were doing was done by a group called the Gida Gida TikTokers. But then allegedly done by the Gida Gida TikTokers. But the images on the undies was not the image of who is on the image, right? It was supposed to be them mocking the Kwankwaso group, the Kwankwasia movement. And it now so happens that it was now changed into whatever it was, and it trended. It trended so bad, calling it empowerment scheme by,
This is actually not the first time you see stuff like this, and I think I personally have a problem with dishing out Christian materials to the people.
Yeah.
You find some government officials giving maybe, if it's campaign, it's not a problem anyway. But if you are giving out something to someone, or if you are giving out something to your electorate, and then this is taxpayers' money, and then it's coming with your own picture,
your image.
yes, as if it's from your money, your what's it called, your pocket, that you are using to. But this is Nigeria. We have seen so many ridiculous gifts given to Nigerians, all in the name of trying to empower them. I wonder if giving on this is a way of empowering them, or looking at the fact that, okay, these people do not really have, so let's go down and give them on this.
No, it's quite ridiculous that you mentioned, and I really pray that it was actually doctored and it is not true that something like that actually happened. So let's assume it was actually doctored, okay? Because personally, I really don't want to believe that was what actually happened.
This is the electioneering season. Our government officials, those vying for position, should step up. They should step up their game in trying to, bring the people, trying to garner vote or something. Just step up your game, and this is 2026 for crying out loud.
All right, this brings us to the end of our program for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to see your comments and opinions about what we have discussed here so far. My name is Muwaffaq Adadu.
And my name is Pius Kadon. Trust me, it's going to be an interesting edition when you keep a date with us on our next edition.
Definitely. See you next week. Bye-bye.